2, 1, 0. Ignition and liftoff.
What's up, guys, and welcome back to Mark Smart Money. On this channel, we cover everything related to billion-dollar industries. By the way, what you are seeing is the SpaceX Transporter 3 mission from a few hours ago. I will personally never ever get tired of watching Booster land, and every time it's like the first time I am watching it. You will see it right here in just a few minutes. But Jeff Bezos allegedly hates it so much because he is a direct competitor to Elon Musk. Perhaps the two most influential people in the world of technology and business today are Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. For the better part of a decade, Bezos was the world's richest man, and no one thought he could ever be surpassed. However, over the last 2 years, Tesla's stock price has outperformed Amazon's, increasing 11 times, while Amazon's stock price has not even doubled. This has allowed Musk to surpass Bezos as the world's richest person by a large margin. Shortly after Musk surpassed Bezos on the billionaire leaderboard, he tweeted a reply to the Amazon founder with a silver medal, poking fun at the fact that he is now only number 2 in the world, when in fact, Bezos isn't even number 2 anymore with the relative underperformance of Amazon's stock price. In the past year, he has been pushed all the way down to number 3, while Musk-esque Twitter antics may appear as harmless jokes. It's actually the symptom of a deep-seated rivalry between the two that can even be interpreted as outright hatred. It all has to do with the cutthroat competition between the two space companies, Spacex and Blue Origin. In this video, we'll look at the origins of this rivalry and who is most likely to come out on top. Despite both being tech billionaires, Bezos and Musk have had very little personal interaction. The companies operated in different industries and headquartered in different states, but by the early 2000s, they were rivals in the private space industry. Musk founded SpaceX in 2002 with money raised from the sale of PayPal. 2 years earlier, Bezos started Blue Origin with his Amazon money. In fact, they appeared to have a good relationship in the early 2000s, meeting with each other a few times to share advice about their space companies. Musk gave Bezos some advice about the best types of rocket fuel to use. Bezos, for the most part, ignored the suggestions. In the 2010s, both companies had skyrocketed and would have to compete head-to-head for government contracts. In 2013, the rivalry began to heat up. Launch Complex 39A is the name given by NASA to an elite launch pad in Florida. The launch pad was the site of the first 2 Apollo spacecraft launches. Both SpaceX and Blue Origin wanted the launch pad. SpaceX wanted to have full control over it. Bezos wanted to turn it into something of a public launch pad. Anyone could use it if they paid. NASA ultimately awarded the launch site to SpaceX, which they would use to launch their Dragon space capsule. At this point, SpaceX was clearly the leader in private space flight, as they had already conducted many successful launches. Bezos was furious about the decision and filed a complaint with the government, saying that NASA showed favoritism by awarding the launch site to SpaceX. He argued that Blue Origin was a better option because they would turn it into a commercial spaceport open to all launch companies, whereas SpaceX would monopolize it. But at the time, SpaceX was the only company with reliable rockets. The only thing that would change is that they would have to pay fees to Blue Origin and possibly get inferior access. Musk replied to the lawsuit by pointing out that Blue Origin had not yet succeeded in creating a reliable suborbital spacecraft despite spending over 10 years in development. Blue Origin fell further and further behind SpaceX over the years, despite Bezos' much greater financial firepower than Musk's. To this day, Blue Origin has only flown suborbital missions, which can be good for space tourism but will not take anyone to Mars. For the better part of the last decade, the company has been trying to develop their own orbital rocket, but it has been delayed multiple times and is not expected to fly until at least the fourth quarter of 2022. SpaceX, on the other,
you can see the 2 fairing halves have separated, fallen away from the vehicle, exposing the 105 spacecraft to the vacuum of
hand
space.
successfully launched its first orbital rocket, the Falcon 1, in 2008. It has been performing increasingly advanced orbital launches each year, at least in terms of orbital launches. Bezos wasn't about to give up. Just a couple years after his failed attempt to block SpaceX's acquisition of the 39A launch site, he tried to file a patent for the concept of reusable rockets. Both companies were actively pursuing this technology, and it was the main way they planned to be far more cost-effective than the disposable rockets of the past. Of course, the idea that you could patent reusable rockets is absurd because the concept is so broad that it would be like trying to patent the concept of a reusable airplane. They tried to stop the patent, and they easily won the case. This was yet another blow to Bezos' ambitions to catch up with Musk, and in recent years, SpaceX's lead over Bezos' company has continued to grow. In April of 2021, NASA awarded SpaceX a $9 billion contract to build a spaceship to bring American astronauts to the moon by 2024. The Artemis program, they will use their existing Starship technology to develop the lunar lander. Because SpaceX had already developed the Starship, and they were the obvious favorite going into the selection process, in a desperate attempt to change the outcome, Blue Origin sued NASA, alleging favoritism towards SpaceX. In March of this year, a judge decided that the lawsuit was frivolous and threw it out. In response to Blue Origin's losing the judgment, Elon Musk tweeted a meme saying, "You have been judged," which is a reference to the 2013 movie Red. While Bezos has clearly lost the space race to Musk, he has been the world's richest man and many times richer than Musk for the majority of the last decade. However, with the recent massive outperformance of Tesla stock, Musk has far surpassed Bezos. In fact, the Tesla CEO is over $80 billion richer at the time of recording this video, probably in large part because of Tesla's success. Bezos wants to get into the electric vehicle business himself. To that end, Amazon spent more than $1 billion to acquire a 20% stake in Rivian, a rival of company. In November, Rivian ended a roughly $100 billion valuation, making it more valuable than Ford or GM, despite not having made any meaningful vehicle deliveries. Rivian's valuation is considered by many to be a bubble and is in large part propped up by their high-profile backing. Elon Musk appears to be one of the Rivian bears. He tweeted that a company should be required to deliver at least one car for every $1 billion in market value. Rivian's CEO R.J. Scaring says he plans to produce 1 million vehicles per year, which appears overly optimistic given that their initial vehicle deliveries have been delayed multiple times, and they are already facing something of a production hell as they try to produce just a few thousand cars. Tesla is on track to deliver approximately 90,000 cars in 2021, and with their Berlin and Austin plants ramping up, they should be able to deliver well over 1 million cars this year. Okay, that's all for this video. What are your thoughts on the Bezos-Musk feud? Do you think Bezos will ever reclaim his former title as the world's richest man? Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. I promise, here is the SpaceX booster rocket, landing all by itself. It is so satisfying to see. Mark Smart Money signing out.
Of the landing back at landing zone 1. As you heard from the call out there and from the cheers behind me, we have successfully landed this Falcon 9 for the 10th time. It's also the 102nd recovery of an orbital class rocket.
Nominal parking orbit.
All right, so we just heard there, second stage had a good orbit. So we cut off or shut down the MVAC engine on the second stage. And as we just heard, we had good orbit. So we're now going to coast for the next 45 minutes or so while we wait for second engine start 2 or SES2. We'll see you back here at around T plus 55 minutes.